Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Welcome to Arts and Lifestyle Wednesday, presented by Cinematic Visions, and another edition of Danny and Tim's Music Scene. And as usual, my little legal pad here, actually it's a big legal pad, and it's a good thing it is, because many topics on it, many of which we'll get to, many we won't. Some are from the Wayback Machine, some are from very recent times, like Lady Gaga about to drop a new album, and that's always exciting news. It's an album of jazz standards, and it's in connection with her character Harlequin in the new Joker film, which is called Folie à Deux. That's French, pronounced badly by me. And we've got onstage fighting. We've got my wife's recital recently, which if I didn't put it in there, no, she wouldn't really care whether I put it in there or not, but I care too. And shared birthdays by artists who maybe have some kind of odd connection. We have a long time fantastic singers who just can't quit, even though they're thinking about it. We've never really talked about the Moody Blues on this podcast, but I think we'll do a little of that. The omnipresent Bruce Springsteen is putting out more material for those who want to consume it. All that we may get to, we may not, but it's always fun with Tim Finn. His Facebook page is always great. His writing is great when we get to read it, and it's great to have him visit here every other week on Arts and Lifestyle Wednesday, presented by Cinematic Visions, and another edition of Danny and Tim's Music Scene, which comes your way next.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
Cinematic Visions has been an affordable solution for professional media production in Kansas City since 2003, offering award-winning video production and creation, as well as a wide array of digital and social media management services. From planning, scripting, filming, editing, and post-production, to delivering your product to a watching world, Cinematic Visions will provide professional and affordable services for you and your business with the necessary return on investment to make it all worthwhile. Cinematic Visions' goal is to unlock the power of storytelling through video and a strong online presence for your company. Beyond the numbers, they want to inspire and evoke your clients to feel and act. Let my friends at Cinematic Visions embed your brand where it belongs, in your customers' minds. You can find them online at cinematicvisions.com or with a quick phone call at 816-600-6300.
Hey Kansas City, Joe Spiker, Easton Roofing here. It's football season in Kansas City, and all of us at Easton Roofing cannot wait to watch Patty Icicles take us to our third straight Super Bowl championship. There's been a lot of storm damage this year. We're here before the storm, and we will be here well after, leaving a legacy of quality work handled by quality people. Not everybody got a new roof from their insurance company. If that's you, give us a call. Easton Roofing. Integrity matters.
If you'd like to join these and other fine sponsors and market your business to Kansas City's #1 variety podcast, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to working with you. Welcome back, and certainly one of the more enigmatic, interesting, omnipresent, varied artists of our generation is Lady Gaga, and she is obviously a multi-platform performer, and she will be appearing in the new Joker film as the character Harlequin, and she is putting out a new companion piece called Harlequin. She just recently put out another album, and this is sort of a companion piece to that, but that will come out on Thursday, as a matter of fact. She's a very interesting performer, Tim. Obviously, she can act, and she's done so at an extremely high level, nominated for Academy Award level. And her singing and just her entire persona is an extremely interesting one.
I think we take it for granted how extra talented she is. She's an elite musician. She can play several instruments. She's elite on the piano. I've seen her 3 times. And so there's nothing she can't do. She's an entertainer on stage. She can dance. She can engage a crowd. She's got a great rapport. She's got a great entertainer's personality. She can sing really well. I mean, she did duets with Tony Bennett. She's a she is a solid actress. Haven't seen enough to say she's, A+ or what grade she is, but she's been convincing whenever I've seen her in. And I know the first time I saw her, I didn't know it at the time, was on an episode of The Sopranos. She made it onto there. So she's been pursuing this for a while, and I don't think, across the board, there's anyone who exceeds her talent and her vision. She's always doing something. She's like David Bowie to me. The next thing is always going to be a little different. She's going to explore something different. And she's embraced by, all of the crowds. And her concerts have been just so joyous, exciting. It's so different to be in an environment like that. No matter how many shows you go to where you go, this is different. This is a different vibe. This is a different vibe coming off the stage, and it's in the audience. So, like I said to you before we went on, it's whatever she's doing, I'm going to have a look at least, and I'm interested in. So
you got a couple of chances to go do that at the movies and on record as well coming up. Lady Gaga with great new material. I'm sure it probably will be great. I don't even have to, even having not sampled it yet. That's pretty reliable. And obviously her onstage persona takes on many different personalities, but it's always uplifting and fun, which is kind of the opposite of what we saw recently for fans in Boston on September 13th, where Jane's Addiction, Perry Farrell, and, well, it's really Perry Farrell's fight. He went over and started punching Dave Navarro on stage. He subsequently had his wife announce that he's getting some kind of treatment. And fights on stage are not actually, rare in the world of rock and roll, but it's never a good thing when it happens, especially when somebody's going to see an act like Jane's Addiction. These are probably great fans who followed him for a long time, and they have to see that.
Yeah, so a little bit of disclosure here. My wife's brother, my brother-in-law, is like the chief sound guy for that tour. Mm-hmm. So he's been on it for a while. He's been with them on several tours. He's been in South America with them. I have not heard anything from him about any of that. I just know he's disappointed it's over because he was having a great time. He was with a great sound crew. Mm-hmm. And the way it ended was just disappointing for everyone involved, which is something to remember when something like this happens. There are people on the periphery who are making a living doing this. So it's kind of like my sermon here is like, if you're at this point in your career and things are going so well, why sabotage yourself? Like, take care of yourself, keep this thing going. I've seen them. I saw them at the Beaumont Club once. They were fantastic. And I saw them at Starlight. I think they were with Nine Inch Nails or maybe Trent Reznor.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I understand all of that, but it's like, yeah. I mean, you talked about, there's a history of, feuds erupting on stage. And I just think there's so much at stake now. Like, why everyone's betting, what's the over under on how many shows Oasis gets through. And it's just a shame that you have to get to that, because there's nothing worse than either going to a show and it's cut short by some kind of drama on stage. I've seen that happen a couple times. Or, 2 shows before you're set up to go see them and you've already spent lots of money and may taken time off. The tour is canceled or the show's postponed or whatever. It's such a disrespect to the fans. And I don't, what I read from comments on Facebook and posts I've read is that no one's surprised. And there's just a lot of backlash for most of the people in the band, just about how they're not a good fit anymore. And I mean, who was the bass player that put Perry Farrell in a headlock and or the drummer? I'm not sure.
Right. Yeah.
Punched him in the stomach. I mean, that's a sign that this thing has been going on for a while. Like, this was the tipping point, and things blew up. And it's my favorite bands. One of the reasons I love the Heartbreakers so much is they were pretty much the same band all of the time. 2 people left the band. The original drummer And then Ron Blair left. Howie Epstein replaced him. When Howie left for serious addiction problems, he was replaced by Ron Blair. So just seeing those same guys out there all the time is part of the reward of the live show. And that's where Wilco is for me right now, because this lineup, the first so many years was really rocky, a lot of lineup changes, but this lineup's been together for going on 18 years. So, and there's just something, like I say, comfortable and reliable and warm about seeing those same people up there all the time. And I don't want to hear this. I don't want to think that, associate some kind of rivalry garbage with music I love. So it's too bad.
It is too bad, and it's one of the reasons I never have actually had much desire ever to see the Eagles. But at least if this is their type of thing, the Guardian, which I mentioned many times, their sleeve notes is an excellent thing. And because of the Jane's addiction, they have an article up there that you can find, which is a list and some descriptions of some famous onstage conflagrations, including the Beatles, the Kinks, the Who. But maybe my favorite quote is the Eagles and Glenn Frey and guitarist Don Felder are getting into it so much that eventually Felder says, "Only 3 more songs till I kick your ass." That and Oasis, Jesus and Mary Chain, The View, all kinds of those. So if you want stories, messy stories like that, I can recommend, I guess, that story from The Guardian, and hope that doesn't happen to you when you see somebody you really enjoy on stage. Well, people who love to sing and love to perform continue to do it. That includes my wife, who did a recent recital with her pianist John Livingston at the Westport Presbyterian Church, their Brown Bag Concert Series, and she'll be performing at Johnson County Community College, so you can look for my posts on Facebook or whatever. She's an opera singer. He's a beautiful piano player. It was a nice little crowd there, and people love to do what they do, even if they're getting very much on in age. And last Wednesday, my wife and I almost pulled the trigger last minute to go see Burton Cummings, of course, the lead singer of the Guess Who, at Knuckleheads. And he's close to 80 years old, obviously. He's well into his 70s. And you have seen him. He takes care of his voice. I heard good things about this particular show. People like to do what they do, Tim.
Well, if you can still do it, why give up? Athletics aren't as kind to athletes as the arts are. Whether you're a musician or a singer or a painter, you can continue beyond, the average lifespan of an athlete. But when athletes start to go, they usually figure it out. Everyone's younger and faster than me. Peace out. I'm going to go, right? I don't want to embarrass myself. Most athletes do. But I think it's a hard thing when you're, especially on another level. But my wife has a elite voice because she went to school for it. She took voice lessons growing up. She was in musicals, so she at first sort of scared my tendency to sing in the car. She's like, "If you don't sing, this isn't going to work." Like,
right.
I don't care how you sing. Like, so. And she also is gifted at finding the harmonies, Mm-hmm. She gets recruited to come on records and play with a band here or there just because that's her favorite thing, is to hear the melody and then I'll figure out the harmonies. And it's so great. And so, yeah, she's been talking about getting back into a chorale or something because, she's only 44, but she's knowing I'm going to keep doing this. I gotta do it.
You gotta do it. Exactly.
Right. And I'm sure that your wife is in the 1% of the great, across, she probably sounds scary great to most people. Well, she that's does. Great. Yeah.
Yeah. And Bill Medley from the Righteous Brothers recently performed at the Kaufman Center. He's been doing this forever, and for a while he just was performed by himself after Bobby Hatfield, the other Righteous brother, died in 2002. Then he found a friend, a guy whose name was Bucky Hurd. He actually heard him